Goku sits alone in the hyperbolic time chamber. He looks as if he's meditating, eyes closed, and an immense aura around him. The door opens slowly, with Grandpa Gohan standing at the doorway, telling Goku that it's time for them to leave again. Goku finally opens his eyes and steps out. As it turns out, that hyperbolic time chamber was Goku's personal hell, similarly to how Frieza had his own. An empty void, similar to the hyperbolic time chamber, but Goku cannot train in it, only image train, and that's not enough for him. Grandpa Gohan is allowed to take him out every now and then to try and quote-unquote reform him. Gohan tells Goku that they need to go see Piccolo again, though Goku doesn't feel like it right now. It has been 6 years since Goku died, and Gohan's been trying to get him to communicate with Piccolo for a long time. At first, he refused and in fact attempted to fight Piccolo, but over time, he started to talk to him, though it was still extremely difficult for him and didn't know if he could ever forgive him. This time, Goku straight out refuses. Gohan sighs and tells Goku that they will have some time to train. They train, play, and teach Goku. Gohan recognizes that Goku's still a kid of some sort, so he does his best to help him out. Goku explains that he feels as if he's hit a wall of power. Cell was insanely strong, and it took everything he had to beat him. But now, as he keeps getting stronger, he finds it difficult to find anything beyond Super Saiyan 3. Goku was unaware that his power would be needed again in the living realm. As the Z Fighters gather around for the tournament to watch Trunks fight, Krillin, 18, and Tien also entered. The fact that Tien entered caught Vegeta's eye, and he decided to go in it as well. They were all approached by Shin, who shook hands with Tien. Vegeta didn't trust that guy. Trunks, of course, wins the tournament and sits back down with Bulma as he watches the fights continue into the adult division. Over the 7 years, Bulma rebuilt Android 16, since Goku had actually spared him by only cutting off his head. Now he lives with Android 17 on a far-off island. Bulma also removed the bombs from 16, 17, and 18, though Tien actually refused. After a scan, they realized that Jiro had actually put a bomb in him as well, but he never wanted to go under a knife ever again. He could live with the bomb. As the tournament begins, Shin tells them all about Majin Buu, an evil being that is set to revive on Earth. Vegeta thinks he can easily take him on. After Goku's death, Vegeta lost his will to fight for a bit, but as Trunks got older, Vegeta realized that he still had much more potential. Vegeta continues to seek Super Saiyan 3, getting stronger and stronger. Nappa lives at Capsule Corp, and Raditz hasn't been seen in many years. Eventually, a match between Vegeta and Shin begins, and after Shin eggs him on to become a Super Saiyan, Yamu and Spopovich attack. Vegeta reacts quickly, instantly killing Yamu, though Shin restrains him as to not have Spopovich get killed too. Vegeta is extremely angry, he doesn't know what's going on, but Shin continues to explain. They need to know where they're going to go. 18 stays behind, as Krillin, Tien, and Vegeta go towards Babbidi's ship. There, Dabura kills Kibito in an instant, but with such a low amount of people, he doesn't make Tien and Krillin into stone. They need as many powerful foes as possible to get more killy for Buu. The three enter Babbidi's ship, even though Vegeta insists on going alone. They make quick work of Yakon and Pui Pui, though Dabura proves to be more troublesome. Vegeta starts off as a Super Saiyan, but slowly transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, finally pushing back Dabura, although his spit does become annoying for Vegeta. Krillin brings up the fact that they could use Goku's help. If Buu is revived, then none of them stand a chance. Tien is insulted. No way they can allow that monster to return. Krillin argues that he fought for them in the end, but Tien doesn't care. Vegeta doesn't give any input. Part of him does want to see Kakarot again in order to fight him. Tien tells them that if they defeat Dabura, then they can stop Babidi and will not need Goku. But as Vegeta defeats Dabura, he feels an immense power coming through him, a voice telling him to give in, that he knows this is the only way. This voice offers immense power. He smirks, letting himself be taken over by the Majin power in order to force Krillin into getting help from Baba. Shin, Tien, and Krillin ask why he's doing this, but Vegeta says that it was about time for the prince to return. He fires blast at Krillin just to force him to retreat. Tien protects Krillin and tells him to run, but to not get Goku, that they can find another way, but Krillin doesn't see it that way. Babidi cheers as Killy is collected, with Shin alone standing up against Babidi. Krillin knows the only way to do this is to get Uranai Baba, the witch that had once brought back Goku's grandfather for a single day. He eventually reaches her, telling Baba to hurry. She doesn't question it. She trusts Krillin. Vegeta continues to chase after Krillin, as he feels it's a race against time until Goku arrives. Tien is hurt, but he stayed behind to help Shin. Vegeta approaches Krillin, 2 fingers up to his face, ready to blast at him. That's when a door appears at Baba's place, with a confused Goku walking out, a halo shining over his head. He was dragged from Otherworld. Baba apologized to him. Goku shook his head. He said he didn't want this. He wasn't ready to return to Earth, but Krillin begged Goku for his help as Goku looked on and Majin Vegeta. Goku pushes Krillin aside and admires Vegeta, asking him if he's finally done it. Vegeta nods. Bursting into Super Saiyan 3, the Majin power had finally helped him achieve that form and surpass his own power. Vegeta laughed. Shin hopes that the man that just appeared with the immense power will be their savior, that there's a darkness in his heart, a darkness that Babidi noticed as well. Goku is happy to see that Vegeta is finally up to par with him. Even though he doesn't have mastered Super Saiyan 3, he's still extremely powerful. Powerful enough to make a good match. Vegeta focused a lot on his space form over the 7 years, training so hard that this Super Saiyan 3 was nearing Goku's. Not his full power Super Saiyan 3, mind you, his regular Super Saiyan 3, though Goku was sure that he could still win. And the two clash. Baba mentions to Krillin that even though he's mastered that form, it still takes a lot of energy and means that his time will be cut, though it's not cut nearly as much as in the original story. Either way, the two Saiyans destroy parts of Baba's castle. Goku is really getting into the fight, which seems like it can go either way, until Goku blasts Vegeta into the ground, rushing behind him and smashing him in the face over and over. Goku was seemingly losing himself, once again ignoring everything around him. It was like those times where he would train and he would ignore that everybody else on Earth was getting hurt. This state, a near berserk-like subconscious that Goku enters into, was just what Babidi needed to get into his mind. As Goku threw one last punch against Vegeta, a huge crater formed around them, Vegeta being a lot more hurt than with the other punches. That one clearly wasn't pulled. Krillin tells Goku to stop, nearly shaking in fear. Goku turns back to look at him and realizes that his power has increased. He then hears a voice in his mind, Babidi, telling him to collect as much Kili as possible and to kill Vegeta if necessary. Goku looks at his hand, bloodied from Vegeta's face, but Vegeta wasn't ready to give up, and he smashed his own head against Goku's. The fight continued, with Goku admitting to himself that he doesn't like earning powers with the help of others, but that he doesn't care right now, because it feels fantastic. Once again, Earth suffers because of Goku's addiction to power, with the witch begging Krillin to take them somewhere else. Her prayers were answered as Babidi teleported them into the wasteland, not too far from Majin Buu's egg. Krillin thanks Baba, feeling his friend's ki and going after them. The clash shakes all of Earth, with the tournament itself stopping as waves crashed onto the tournament sides. On planet Yardrat, far away, Raditz opens his eyes. Goku's ki was felt for the first time in 7 years. Raditz had gone all over the place, looking for answers, and he landed back down at planet Yardrat, where he trained and mastered his ki, even reaching Super Saiyan. He thanked Bibara quickly and teleported to Earth to watch Goku and Vegeta fight. Raditz is terrified by their power, but also fears another power nearby. He goes to it and finds Shin bleeding out. He begs Raditz, this stranger, to stop the fight, or Majin Buu will be awoken. Raditz doesn't know what the hell is going on, but he knows this isn't how he wanted to see his brother again, nor the prince. He tried to talk them out of the fight, bringing up the fact that they can finally be a family again, that Vegeta himself has a family. This actually hits Vegeta hard, and he's distracted just for a split second for Goku to blast at him, throwing him off his rhythm and burying him in rubble. Goku tells Raditz that he can handle it, whatever that Buu guy is, and tells Raditz to have Vegeta follow him when he wakes up. Krillin also tries to talk to Goku along with Raditz until they finally reach Buu's egg, with Tien stepping in the way, telling Goku that he will not let him revive Buu. Goku tilts his head. He says that he's never had any ill will against Tien, and that his plan also wasn't to revive Buu, but he stops talking halfway through the sentence, telling Tien to watch out as Dabra stabs him through the chest. Goku screams out a no, telling Krillin and Raditz to take care of the Kai and Tien, but as they are leaving, they see a dense cloud forming overhead. They escape as Majin Buu is reborn. This Buu has taken in a lot more Kili than the one in the original story, so he's potentially much stronger than that one too. Goku watches curiously as Buu is just being silly, even turning Dabra into a cookie and eating him. Goku finds this amusing. Babidi yells at Buu to kill Goku and find that Vegeta guy, but Buu wonders why. Babidi continues to just be mean to him. Goku asks Buu why he's letting himself be treated that way. After all, Goku himself was treated that way once before too. He knows what it's like to be locked away because someone feared their power and a person trying to use them. A twisted smile forms on Buu's face as he looks over to Babidi and eats him as well. The M over Goku's head fades, with Buu turning over to Goku and asking what he should do now. Goku asks him what he wants to do. Buu wants candy. Goku does too. They fly off, finding candy, even training a little as Goku explains to him just how fun it can be to fight powerful opponents. And as they clash, eat candy, and more, Goku sees Buu turn people into candy. Goku draws the line there, telling him not to do that. They can find candy other ways, but he feels like killing people isn't the way to go about it. Plus, Goku thought that was kinda gross. Goku gives an example by turning to a baby carriage and stealing candy from a baby, giving it to Buu. Buu understands, and they begin to steal candy from various stores. But they do not kill. And slowly, the pair become friends. They see a lot of each other in themselves. Krillin comes along too, trying to get Buu and Goku to stop, but he feels that maybe this is the only way to stop Buu until they figure out what to do. So he stops complaining and just pretends to enjoy things with them. Tien and Shin are healed by Dende. As Bulma goes off to find the Dragon Balls, she's afraid that Vegeta has died as well. But Trunks focuses his ki. He notices Vegeta's ki. He's still alive, but it's very weak. Everyone stops him from going off and finding him. It's too dangerous right now. Vegeta can take care of himself. Bulma is also saddened that Goku has returned, only to betray them again. That's right, this time Bulma feels that she's being betrayed. Shin argues, however, that Goku is actually helping them right now. Buu's revival might have been inevitable, but Goku is at least keeping him restrained for now. And while Goku, Krillin, and Buu hang around, Vegeta finds them. The M on his forehead is gone, but he screams out at them that their fight wasn't over. Buu is confused, he doesn't know what's going on, but Vegeta curses that pink blob, firing an atomic blast at him. But through the time that he spent with Buu, Krillin has actually gotten to care at least a little bit about him as well. And Krillin jumps in the way. He gets blasted through the chest as Goku screams. Even Goku himself is surprised. It was clear that Krillin did care about him. The fact that he did that for Buu meant a lot to him. Goku looked over at Vegeta with pained eyes. If it was a fight he wanted, it's a fight he'll get now. Majin Buu is even angrier than Goku, but it's a silent anger as he leans down to heal Krillin, but something is going on with Buu, and they all watch as from his steam, a gray version of Buu is born. The two begin to fight, and Goku tries to help his friend, but Vegeta drags Goku away from the fight. As he said, their fight wasn't over. Goku versus Vegeta resumes, while good Buu versus evil Buu happens. Krillin can't do anything but watch as his friends are killing each other. During the battles, evil Buu turns good Buu into candy and eats him, turning into Super Buu. Super Buu looks at the two Saiyans. He remembers Goku as his best friend, so his eyes turn to Vegeta instead. He smiles as he beats him down. Goku, still angry at Vegeta for hurting Krillin, simply stands back and watches Vegeta get wrecked. He was getting what he deserved for hurting Buu and Krillin. But Krillin told Goku to stop it, that he's had enough. Goku snaps out of it, telling Buu to stop. Vegeta had enough, but Buu refuses. He wants to continue fighting and getting stronger, no matter what. Goku thinks that's crazy, but Krillin tells him to look in the mirror. Buu is just like how Goku was last time he was here, only caring about fighting stronger opponents, never mind who he hurt or how the planet was affected. Goku looks at his palm, realizing that Krillin's right. He's been like that for a long time, and Super Buu's just like him. Remembering Gohan's teachings, he realizes that he has to stop Super Buu. He tries to get him off of Vegeta, although it seems pretty even. Goku slowly starts to gain the upper hand when suddenly Vegeta is absorbed by a part of Super Buu that was laying on the ground. Buu absorbs him, his clothes becoming that of Vegeta's, electricity flowing around him. Super Buu, Vegeta absorbed, begins to fight Goku, and finally he starts to be pushed back. Clearly, his regular Super Saiyan isn't enough, and he attempts to tap into his full power Super Saiyan 3 state. But Buu isn't letting it happen. He's not letting him focus. Buu creates multiple copies of himself that surround Goku and fire multiple Big Bang attacks. Goku's starting to feel claustrophobic, and when he opens his eyes, he sees a giant blob of pink goo surrounding him. He's trapped, getting absorbed into Super Buu as well. Super Buu starts to slowly walk towards Krillin when the shorter man feels someone touch his shoulder and teleport away. Shin had teleported Krillin into the Kaioshin realm. There, some of the other Z fighters stood tall. They feel hopeless now that both of their strongest fighters have been absorbed by Buu. Shin laments that they don't have a warrior strong enough to lift the Z-Zord. Raditz curses, thinking about how Goku was the only one stopping Buu from destroying Earth. Majin Buu, Goku absorbed, can't believe his overwhelming strength as he flies around, drunk of power, turning people into chocolate, raiding bakeries and destroying the planet. Shin doesn't know what they can do. If only they could get Goku and Vegeta out of there. That's when a light bulb lit over Raditz's head. He had an idea, a technique that the Yardrat taught him a long time ago, over his years on the planet. A technique known as forced spirit fission. But as Super Buu roamed the earth, within him, Goku was still conscious. His heart beating fast, his breaths getting heavier. He opened his eyes. He was never going to be trapped again. While all the Z-fighters at the Kaioshin realm try to figure out what to do, Raditz overhears Kaioshin lament that they don't have anybody to withdraw the Z-Sword. Raditz spins his head to look at the tall pillar housing the sword. If the Kaioshin made a big deal about it, then it must mean it's important. He wanted to save his brother. He wanted to save Vegeta. Without anything else to say, Raditz rushed to the pillar and attempted to take out the sword. It was difficult. It was the heaviest thing he'd ever had to do before. He was struggling, shaking. When Kaioshin and the rest noticed, they went up to encourage him. He just tried to focus. He could feel his brother's ki, the ki that he had been waiting to feel for such a long time while he trained on Yardrat. He thought of his brother, of his masters. Kaioshin continued to encourage him, telling him that right now, more than ever, they need a hero. And after hearing those words, Raditz's aura sparkled, the ground beneath him cracking as he pulled out the Z-Sword and unlocked Super Saiyan 2. Everyone cheered, but they didn't have time. The sword was still extremely heavy for Raditz, though the Kaioshin encouraged him to swing it around a little. He was already getting stronger just from that. That sword was legendary. He thought maybe that would be the only chance they had against Buu. But Raditz felt something strange about the sword. There was an incredible power within it, but it belonged to a living being. He'll have to explore that later. He has no time now. Inside of Buu, Goku opens his eyes. Buu is speaking to him from inside the incubator/egg thing. Super Buu talks about how similar he is to Goku, being trapped for so long, wanting the same things, etc. And that now that Goku is inside of him, they can remain friends forever, getting stronger, fighting powerful opponents, as long as Goku stops resisting. Goku almost gives in to temptation when he hears the voice of Raditz. Raditz, despite being completely underpowered, is still trying his best to protect his little brother. Kakarot, Vegeta, I'll get you both out! Raditz, Tiana, Yamcha, Nappa, and 18 arrive from the Kaioshin realm, teleported down by Raditz's Yardrat teleportation. But none of them are nearly enough. Raditz is slapped across the place as he tried to get close to Buu, but he wouldn't let up. The fight continues for a while, but none of the Z-fighters are enough. They're all extremely hurt in a matter of minutes. Goku hears everything from within, and he starts to struggle. He feels his heartbeat racing, his breath getting heavier, and as Super Buu tried to convince him to finally become one with him, Goku snaps. He remembered himself as a kid. He remembered himself in the hyperbolic time chamber. All that endless space, yet so restricted. That feeling of being trapped, he then felt again on Namek, when he was put in the healing chamber. And when riding those pods, Goku hated being restricted. And this was no different. And with a snap, Goku burst his aura open from within the egg, exploding from within Buu. Various particles of Buu spread everywhere, with a Super Saiyan 3 Goku sparkling from within it. Goku took steps forward from it, parts of Buu burning as they touched his aura. Raditz couldn't believe it. Goku was able to get free by himself. He had defeated Buu. But Goku turned to the others, shaking his head. He said that the only reason I was able to do that is because I was within Majin Buu, because I was conscious. If I wasn't within him, I wouldn't have been able to beat him. And both Vegeta and the original Buu are in there. We have to free them, Raditz. Free them? I understand the prince, but why the fat blob too? He'll just want to kill us. He's my friend, and we have to help him. Raditz didn't have time to argue. As Buu regenerated, they all rushed in, with Goku doing everything he could. But Vegeta knew Goku's moves very well, and because of that, it seemed like Goku was making no progress. That was until Tien saw an opening, using a Kiko-Ho to stop Buu in his tracks. That attack, it was always so much more powerful than the user. Raditz rushed in with a Z-sword, slicing right through the middle of Super Buu, quickly spinning on his heel to grab onto Super Buu's head tentacle. So the sword was useful after all, he thought to himself. As Buu screamed in pain, Goku said one final thing. You are not my friend. Raditz dragged Vegeta and Fat Buu out from within Super Buu. He had done it. The Yardren Spirit Fission was the key to their victory. As soon as Raditz grabs Vegeta, he dropped Buu, grabbed Goku's hand, and teleported everyone over to the Kaioshin realm. As he found himself surrounded by fighters, he was immediately on the defensive, but they had bigger fish to fry. Vegeta turned to Kakarot and made him promise that their fight would continue, but Goku turned back. It was his fault that Buu got hurt. Buu, that's right! He looked around and noticed that he wasn't there. Raditz thought that if Buu found an empty battle space, then he would just destroy the planet, perhaps leaving Buu behind, will at least save them some time. But Goku wasn't willing to take that chance. He wasn't going to allow his friend get absorbed again, or killed. Focused his ki and put 2 fingers on his forehead. He wanted to have Buu with them, but Kid Buu was beating on Majin Buu. So, while everyone was getting healed at the Kaioshin realm, Goku teleported into the battle scene, grabbing both Kid Buu and Majin Buu, and teleporting instantly into the world of the Kais. Not only because he wanted to save Buu, but also because having Kid Buu on Earth meant the destruction of Mount Pautsu, and by extension, Grandpa Gohan's home. Once there, Shin told everybody that they needed to escape, to let Goku handle it. Vegeta, Raditz, and Tien refused to leave. They wanted to continue to help. Shin teleported everyone else down to Kami's lookout, where Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Dende awaited news. Goku smirked and cracked his knuckles. He stood in front of Majin Buu, protecting him. Goku turned to tell him to lay low for a while. He's got it handled. After all, they're friends. This struck Tien, who didn't think Goku could ever consider anyone a friend ever again. Goku admitted that Buu was extremely powerful, and that it was fun, but he hurt his best friend, and now he was going to defeat him. Kid Buu simply laughed. But this Kid Buu is stronger than the original story. Much more Kili was taken to birth him, but being inside of Buu and the fight against Super Buu had hurt Goku a lot, and he was the one who didn't get any healing. So, although Goku burst into Super Saiyan 3, pushing Vegeta aside as he tried to get into the action, Kid Buu seemed to continue to win. Goku's lack of experience and masters was really showing off this time around, as he couldn't quite predict Kid Buu's movements. Tien begged Goku to let him help. A blast from Kid Buu was diverted by another blast from Raditz. Finally, Goku admitted that maybe just this once, he had to trust them. He had no other choice. With that, Majin Buu stood back up. Goku smiled at him, then at Raditz, even Tien and Vegeta. Even if they didn't trust each other, this time they could trust each other's power. They all rushed in, It was slowly starting to equalize, though Tien and Raditz went down relatively quickly. Vegeta and Goku were having a great time. It had been years since they fought together. Even if he hated him for having hurt Buu and Krillin, he remembered back to his grandfather's teachings on the other world, how he taught him to forgive. He couldn't do it with Kami yet, but perhaps he could with Vegeta. Goku couldn't believe that him and Super Buu had so much in common. He hated himself for it, only caring about getting stronger, regardless of who he hurt and how he hurt them. And now he was realizing that he did just that to his friends. Kid Buu represented all of that. Kid Buu's drastic techniques forced Goku on the defensive as Vegeta was knocked down. They couldn't believe it. Goku was running out of time. They had to help him somehow. He's the only one with enough power left to stand up against them. If his time runs out because of Super Saiyan 3, then they're all doomed. Raditz thinks of something, the thing he did before. Forced spirit fission. What if he could collect energy to help his brother in the fight? They thought it was a great idea. Though Tien didn't want to do it at first, he finally put his trust in Goku once more. But Kid Buu looked at the team and instinctively attacked them. They couldn't get away, no matter how hard they tried. Goku asked what's going on with Tien, and he said that his stupid brother was risking it all to get him the win. But they still needed more. Tien knew what he had to do. Gritting his teeth, Ten Shinhan rushed in on Buu with a Kiko Ho up to the sky. While up there, he looks down at Goku and yelled at him not to waste this chance. Tien exploded. The bomb which Jiro had planted on him was used to self-destruct. Goku yelled a pained no, but Raditz thanked him for the sacrifice. Kid Buu took longer to regenerate thanks to this explosion, giving Raditz enough time to teleport on Earth, getting energy from everybody at the lookout. Krillin, 18, Chi-Chi, Bulma, Kid Trunks, Dende, Popo, anybody he could find. He then went over to planet Yardrat, where all of his friends and masters gave him energy, some of the most powerful ki he had ever felt. He went to Namek, explaining to them that he needed their help. They were distrustful at first, but they felt in his heart that he was telling the truth. Every person he could think of, he begged them for help. He had used the Force Spirit Fission to gather energy from around the galaxy to gift to Goku. He finally returned to Kid Buu as he was finishing regenerating. Majin Buu told Goku to be careful, that they still had so much candy to eat. Vegeta spat on the ground, but shot a thumbs up to Goku. Kakarot finally nodded, agreeing that they need to reach a new height together. Finally, Raditz looked directly at his brother's eyes as Kid Buu laughed, rushing in towards them. Raditz asked, "Kakarot, you have to trust me." Goku sighed and nodded. "I do. I trust you." Raditz poured all of his ki into Goku as he exploded into a giant avatar made of pure ki, catching Kid Buu's punch. This energy blew everybody away, and everybody on Earth felt the incredible rising ki. He could do it. Goku could win. Goku could defeat Majin Buu. No matter what Kid Buu did, he didn't stand a chance against the massive power-up of the Super Saiyan 3. Every punch he threw Goku's way simply hurt him more. He was a being of pure ki, and Kid Buu was being burned in the process. In one last, desperate attempt, Kid Buu threw one punch, Goku threw another, the two fists clashing. A huge aura appeared behind Goku. As he tried to push the punch forward, another aura behind Buu. They both screamed. As Raditz told Goku to win, the roar of an Ozaru was heard as the mirage of the giant great ape appeared to shine from Goku, consuming Kid Buu and blinding everyone. As Goku stood there, fist up to the sky and sparkles flying behind him, Kid Buu was defeated. Everyone sighed in relief and cheered, hugging Goku. And this time, just because Fat Buu was the one to hug him first, Goku hugged back. Vegeta crossed his arms, shaking his head. They all returned to Earth, and after they explained that Fat Buu isn't the bad guy here, everyone stood around Goku. Bulma was nervous. She didn't know what to say, but Goku smiled, thanking everyone for their help and for putting trust in him one last time. Chi-Chi teared up as she jumped to his arms. Goku awkwardly laughed, but Uranai Baba appeared behind Goku, timidly, telling him that his time was up. Goku had a sad smile on his face, but nodded, saying that Grandpa Gohan was probably worried about him. But Chi-Chi wouldn't let Goku's hand go, and neither could Fat Buu. Goku told them that he was sorry, but he had to go. Bulma cleared her throat, saying that he doesn't necessarily have to go. She had collected the Dragon Balls in order to bring everyone killed by Buu back to life. And thanks to Dende upgrading the Dragon Balls, they can also revive Goku. Goku's eyes widened. He wasn't sure about this. In fact, he said no at first. He wanted to be with his grandfather, but the voice of Grandpa Gohan was heard.
Oh, Goku, you're always so worried about me and about that old home. Trust me, I'm okay here. I taught you everything I can, and it seems like you're learning to trust them again. We still have a lot of work to do with Kami, but I promise you, we'll get that done in due time. It's not your time to be here yet. Go, learn to trust your friends again. Find new power on your own. And all of you, Goku's friends, promise me to take care of him this time. I don't want to see him back too soon. Until we meet again, Goku.
Goku teared up and dropped to his knees. He really was changing, wasn't he? And thus, Shenron was summoned in order to revive everyone that was killed by Buu and Son Goku. It was decided that he would live at Grandpa Gohan's old home, and he promised to only ever train under the supervision of one of the Z Fighters. Majin Buu would live with him as well. And so, some time began to pass. Goku got stronger, but not by much. Fighting with Vegeta was a lot of fun, and eventually he did reach Super Saiyan 3, but it seems like they were both stuck there, without a clear path of how to proceed forward. Maybe this really was their top power, but Goku didn't think so. Goku thought there was something beyond. Chi-Chi would often come to Mount Paozu, bringing him food and the like, and the two started to get close. In fact, slowly he got close with everyone, although some were still afraid of him. Tien doesn't know if he can truly ever trust Goku, but he thanked him for everything after he was revived. Krillin also spent a lot of time with Goku, and Raditz as well. But speaking of Raditz, he actually ended up spending a lot of time at the Kaioshin realm. He told the Kaioshin that he felt an incredible presence within the sword, and that he had an idea. Utilizing spirit vision, he was able to bring out someone from inside the sea sword, and old Kai. Everyone was surprised, including Goku, who was hanging out with them at the time. The old Kai thanked him for finally getting him out of there, and he said that it's about time their hero gets some help, right? Everyone turns to Goku, but the old Kai shakes his head. He's talking about Raditz. He feels that he's changed a lot, and that he truly has come around. If he wants to get stronger, then he has a little ritual for him. Raditz is excited. He hasn't been able to be comparable to Goku nor Vegeta in a very long time. Perhaps this was his ticket forward. But in Goku's mind remained the idea that he was stuck, and decided that the only way forward was to do the unthinkable. Alongside Fat Buu, the two of them snuck into the lookout. Goku warned Buu that they can't spend too much time in there, but that this may be the only way to get stronger. It was the best way he knew, at least. He said this as he swung the door open, welcoming Buu into the hyperbolic time chamber. Inside the hyperbolic time chamber with Majin Buu, Goku is slowly training but making little to no progress. He doesn't have much of a goal in mind besides finding a way to break his limits, but Buu gets bored easily. Goku ends up doing a lot of thinking and self-reflection within the chamber, along with playing with Buu, rather than training. He thinks back to his time in the afterlife with Grandpa Gohan, and how he would tell him that a warrior cannot grow if he has doubts in their minds. After a couple of weeks in the time chamber, or a couple of minutes in the real world, Goku reaches a realization. He needs to resolve his feelings regarding Kami once and for all. Goku and Buu leave the time chamber and go to see Baba, requesting to speak to Piccolo. She agrees, and Kamikolo arrives at Baba's place. He's afraid. He doesn't like talking to Goku, but he senses Goku's ki and realizes that it has changed over time. Piccolo and Goku finally have a talk regarding Kami's intentions back when he was a child. Goku has one specific question that's been stuck in his mind for over 30 years while he was trapped. Why did he do it? Why did he betray him and trap him in the chamber? Kami tries to argue with Goku, telling him that those things don't matter anymore, but they matter to Goku. With a sigh, Kami begins to reveal the truth.
Son, I had a vision. regarding you, regarding an unbelievable power. The power of the Ozaru, the great ape that lived within you. I thought cutting your tail would resolve the issue, but that latent power remained. Though that power was definitely changed after I cut your tail. It must have been Super Saiyan.
Goku took a minute to think about things and shook his head. He disagreed. No, Super Saiyan is powerful. It's been an incredible tool, but that's the thing I'm stuck at. If there's one thing you took away from me besides my liberty, it's gotta be my tail. That has to be the key. Piccolo says that he doesn't think that makes any sense, but Goku stands up, saying thank you for his help to Piccolo, and leaving. Piccolo doesn't know what to say, and just tells Baba to return him to hell. With new determination, Goku decides to heed Grandpa Gohan's advice, asking help from others, from those he trusts. Goku goes to find Raditz, asking him for help and any advice he has on unlocking the Super Saiyan's primal powers. Raditz wonders if he's talking about the Ozaru form, but Goku shakes his head. No, he's after something greater than that. Raditz doesn't really know, but he thinks he might know someone who does. The two teleport to the sacred world of the Kais, and Goku is reintroduced to the Elder Kai. Goku asks what's up with Raditz's weird clothes, to which Kibito gets offended, as they are the clothes of a Kaioshin. Raditz says that he's not a Kai, not by a long shot, but he's doing a lot of training with the old geezer. It's a different type of power-up. It's no Super Saiyan 3, but he's gonna be a contender soon enough. The old Kai wonders what he can do for them, and Goku explains that in exchange for maybe a picture of Bulma, the old Kai will pull out Goku's tail, and so the elder decides to help Goku with a trusty pair of pliers, though it takes a long time, with the old Kai commenting that this would be a lot easier if he was a child. As soon as his tail is pulled out, Goku feels a woof of nostalgia. It felt so familiar yet foreign at this point, but he didn't feel much different. There was certainly something going on there. He definitely felt the power of an Ozaru. If he looked at the full moon, he'd probably transform. That thought sticks in his mind. Goku thanks them all, but before leaving, Goku challenges Raditz to a battle. That's when Raditz finally shows off his new power-up. After undergoing a mystical ritual with the Elder Kai, Raditz is ready to introduce his ultimate form. His hair spikes up just a little bit, with a bang falling over his head, and sparkles of electricity. Goku is very much impressed. Raditz was right. This wasn't up to par with his Super Saiyan 3, but he was excited to fight his brother once again. The two clash, with all the Kais telling him to chill out. They're gonna destroy the planet. This sparring match culminates in the two brothers saying goodbye, with Goku undergoing another mission. This time, he had to visit Vegeta. Though he tries to train his tail once again after not having it for nearly 40 years, he realizes that the power he needs may have to do with the transformation itself. Going to Vegeta and asking for advice. How does he control his Ozaru state? Vegeta trains with him just for a bit, as Goku learns more about his tail and the Saiyan history. After training and some specific advice that Goku asks from Vegeta, Goku and Buu once again enter the hyperbolic time chamber. This time, Goku knows he can control the Ozaru, and above that, he knows how to transform into one without the need of a real moon. Goku had asked Vegeta how he transformed back on the giant planet, and Vegeta taught him just how to create an artificial moon. So, within the chamber, in order not to disrupt the rest of the planet, Goku transforms into an Ozaru. He still struggles to control it at first, but with Buu there, he's able to calm him down. Makes sure that Goku knows that he's always there for him, and that Krillin, Bulma, Chi-Chi, and the rest are waiting for him outside. The pressure of being in the hyperbolic time chamber made the Ozaru rampage even harder, but this was counteracted by Buu being there. And slowly, his fur began to glow as he transformed into a golden Ozaru. And as Buu continued to explain to him just who he is and what he represents, Ozaru Goku looked at the entrance of the time chamber. The clock on top of the entrance ticked away. Every tick rang in Goku's mind. Tick, tick, tick. That's all he heard for 30 years. He was never going to allow himself to be trapped like that, and that included being trapped in his own mind in the form of the Ozaru. He had to control it. That's when Goku's eyes burned bright. Inside his mind, Goku found himself surrounded by nothingness, except for his imaginary friend, the one he had named Gohan. He thanked him for everything, that he's been a lot of help in keeping him at least a little bit sane, but it was time for him to face reality. He has real friends now, a brother that cares about him, a rival that strives to better himself. Goku says goodbye to the imaginary Gohan as he fades away. Focusing on Buu, Golden Ozaru roars as he begins to shrink, and Buu gasps at what he sees.
I'm surprised too. I didn't think I had this much power.
Meanwhile, in the outside world, no one has seen Goku nor Buu for a while. as the Z fighters start to worry. However, Vegeta is preoccupied with taking care of his newborn daughter. Brah. She was born 2 years after the battle against Majin Buu. Following the altercation, and in particular Majin Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans decided to cut back and take a look at himself, realizing that he doesn't want to end up how Kakarot was. He actually starts to change, but he realizes his role as a father now more than ever. In the meantime, Bulma organizes the staff for her upcoming party the next day. But far away, Lord Beerus, the god of destruction, wakes up with a vision of a Super Saiyan God. Whis takes him to the world of the Kais, where he talks to Shin, the other Kai, Raditz, and Kibito. Beerus requests to fight the Saiyan, calling him a Kai in training, but Raditz laughs, saying that he's not there quite yet. But even with his ultimate state, Raditz cannot beat, nor get even close to Lord Beerus. The god of destruction is disappointed, asking him if there's any more powerful Saiyans around the universe. Raditz doesn't say anything in order to protect Earth and his brother, but it's futile. It's up to Whis then, as he detects Saiyans living on Earth. Whis takes Beerus to Earth where all the Saiyans are, crashing Bulma's party. Bulma was wondering where Goku could have gone, hoping that he'd be there to help them. She even sent letters to Grandpa Gohan's old home. When Beerus shows up, he scares Vegeta, who tries to make him happy all through the party. But eventually, Beerus starts to lose patience, asking to see the Super Saiyan God. Not even Vegeta knows what he's talking about, and the god begins to get angry, demanding to see it or Earth will be destroyed. 16, 17, 18, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, even Trunks all attempt to fight Beerus, but to no avail. He's just too much for all the fighters, though 17 in particular gives him somewhat of a fight. In comparison to the others, Vegeta transforms into a Super Saiyan 3 after he watches Bulma get slapped, but even with an anger boost, he still gets thrown to the side. But as her husband gets defeated, Bulma gets an idea, stopping the fight and telling them that they can ask Shenron how to find the Super Saiyan God. Thankfully, she had already gathered the Dragon Balls, and Shenron is summoned, explaining the details of the God ritual. Realizing they are one Saiyan short, Vegeta brings up his younger brother, whom he believes could still be alive. Whis easily retrieves the bewildered Tarble, and soon enough, Vegeta is holding hands with Nappa, Raditz, Trunks, Bra, and Tarble, and becomes the first Super Saiyan in a millennia. Vegeta and Beerus crash, with Vegeta enjoying this new power-up. He thinks to himself that finally, he's actually above Kakarot for once. But as much as he's enjoying the fight, he knows deep in his heart that Lord Beerus is toying with him. It's an exciting battle that takes them all over the world. And unlike the original story, this Vegeta is actually able to push back the Ki Ball that Lord Beerus threw to Earth, but that snaps him out of Super Saiyan God. He's panting, tired. Beerus thanks him for the display. That was definitely a Super Saiyan God, but was that what the Oracle Fish had foreseen? In the back of his mind, Beerus expected more from this form. Perhaps with a little bit of training he could. Beerus's thoughts stop as he senses another key on Earth, one that surpasses even Vegeta's. Beerus drops off Vegeta with Whis, telling him to keep an eye on him. They'll have use for him later. As Beerus flew away, Whis smirked, saying,
So, you were actually able to surpass yourself, huh?
Goku. Vegeta cocked an eyebrow at this comment. How did he know Kakarot already? Had he been watching them? Whis giggled.
Well, with a power like his, it's been hard not to notice him.
Whis, Vegeta, and everyone else leave the party as they follow Beerus up to the lookout. Chi-Chi and Krillin are the first ones to notice. If Goku was going to be anywhere, it was going to be here. Was that why Beerus had arrived to the lookout? Waiting alongside a scared Dende and Popo, a massive explosion rocks the heavenly realm. The time chamber is utterly obliterated, and out from the smoke, two figures emerge. A slim, muscular Majin Buu that shocked everyone as is, but it wasn't as shocking as Goku stepping out of the smoke, covered in red fur, his tail flapping in the wind, and a power that surged above them all. Lord Beerus asked himself,
So, is this another Super Saiyan God?
Guess there's no need to play games. Alright then. I guess I'll have to show you the true power of Super Saiyan 4.
Lord Beerus paces back and forth, admiring Goku. Vegeta shook. He couldn't believe that the second Vegeta achieved a new power, so did Kakarot. But instead of getting angry, he smirked. It looks like both of them had their unique paths. He just had to catch up to Goku with his own. After explaining what he was here for, Goku nods, telling Lord Beerus that he sensed his ki. Beerus is bewildered. How could he sense his ki? In his current state, he definitely doesn't have God Ki, but he felt something similar to it before the time chamber was broken apart. Goku chuckled, simply taunting Beerus into attacking. The primal being and the god of destruction rushed towards one another, their fists slamming against one another and ripping the lookout apart. The Z fighters had to help the non-combatants in order to make sure they didn't get thrown out of the place. The battle was intense, slowly building up over time. It seems like Goku and Beerus may be equal. Whis knew that Beerus was holding back, but he couldn't be sure if Goku was as well. Beerus slams his fist against Goku's stomach. It looked like it hurt, but Goku just smiled, looked up at Beerus, grabbed onto his arm, and spun him around, uppercutting him up to the sky. When Beerus was about to reach space, he stopped himself, creating another massive energy sphere, which he threw down at Goku. But as the sun began to set behind Goku, he opened his palms, a red key ball on each hand.
Let's see you try times 10! Ka-me-ha-me! Ha!
The Kamehameha times 10 actually pierced through Beerus' key ball. It actually took the god of destruction opening his aura up to dissipate the blast. Beerus' eyes widened. That power was incredible. With a few years of training, Goku may be able to reach him. That's when Beerus stopped the fight, telling him that that was an exciting battle, that both Vegeta and Goku proved to be worthy adversaries, and he tells Goku that he wants to train him. They can get stronger together, but Goku refuses, shaking his head and pointing his thumb back at Whis. Nah, I want to train with him instead. I can tell he's stronger. Beerus is absolutely offended, but stops himself from destroying Earth. Instead, he gets the idea of training Vegeta to retaliate Goku. They'll see who's the better master and student. Goku and Vegeta fist bump, a fist bump that rocks Earth. Beerus tells the two of them that he's getting tired and he must get going now, but that Whis will take care of the quote-unquote paperwork when it comes to their training. He looks at Vegeta, saying, "Don't you disappoint me now, Vegeta. We have to both make sure Goku doesn't get too far ahead." And so, Goku and Vegeta's training begins. And though they're both learning a lot and getting stronger, Whis and Beerus realize that their friendly training competition they've got going on may have been done wrongly. They believe they have the wrong student. So, while Goku and Vegeta are trapped in Whis' staff, the two of them discuss and come to the conclusion to switch students. Goku is wild, powerful, distrusting, and destructful. All things a god of destruction requires.
That form, it's wonderful. I think you'd make a perfect god of destruction.
While Vegeta is cocky and completely prideful, he also knew his boundaries. Being a family man, he knew sacrifices were needed. Interesting, Whis thought to himself. This truly is a change from what I'm used to, but it's delightful. Perhaps Vegeta will be the one with, well, never mind. We'll find out soon enough. At the same time, Goku and Vegeta train in Whis' staff, and it turns out that Vegeta actually has to defend himself. Though he had gotten used to the time chamber, Goku still can't spend too much time in it, and Whis' staff was exactly like the time chamber, except even more restrictive. There was no ground nor entrance. It was just an empty void, and this somewhat triggered Goku. Though trying to get Goku to calm down actually proved to be helpful for Vegeta, as it was through this training that he not only achieved Super Saiyan Blue, but he realized there was stuff beyond it as well. He couldn't get there just yet, but he knew that with Goku's help, they would both be the strongest ones around. But something evil was brewing on Earth. Sorbet, one of the last remaining Frieza soldiers, used the Pilaf gang to summon Shenron and revive Lord Frieza. But Sorbet knew of the power of Goku. He had been absorbing him, and he heard the stories that Frieza told after being turned into a cyborg. The power that son Goku had was unbelievable. Maybe Frieza wouldn't be enough. And so, he also revives King Cold. As the two of them stand next to each other at the window of the ship, King Cold wonders if Frieza has a plan. His son nods. He tells his father,
Of course, father, that Son Goku is powerful, even more powerful than Majin Buu, the being you told me never to face. We'll train for over a year. It'll be a while, but Earth will await our return, and we will kill Son Goku.
We find ourselves on Beerus' planet as Goku, Vegeta, and Beerus all train together under the guidance of Whis. Goku fights using his newly discovered Super Saiyan 4 state, while Vegeta adorns his Super Saiyan Blue. Goku still has the advantage against Vegeta, and neither him nor Beerus have used their full power in battle just yet. It's unclear who's the strongest at the moment. Suddenly, a bright white pillar of light descends from the heavens. Stepping out of the light are two figures. One who has striking resemblance to Whis, and the other to Beerus. Beerus looked towards the visitor before rolling his eyes.
What do you want, Champa?
The god of destruction questioned his counterpart.
No particular reason, just a certain planet with a reputation we wish to look into.
Goku and Vegeta had no idea who these guys were or what they wanted. Champa and Vados looked towards the two of them.
Who or what are you guys supposed to be? They don't seem to be anything special.
Champa said rudely.
Ignore them,
responded Beerus. And ignore them he did. Beerus then continued to ask about why they were there. Both Goku and Vegeta became more confused and annoyed as the two bickered and completely disregarded them. Goku had enough and teleported right to Champa and demanded him to answer his questions. The woman who looked like Whis raised an eyebrow at the sudden display before introducing herself and the cat.
Well, aren't you brave? Casually assaulting a god of destruction like that, I should kill you where you stand.
A cocky smile spread across Goku's face before stepping back. He didn't want to cause anything, as he had a feeling that something interesting was about to happen. Whis questioned Vados about the planet they were seeking.
It's called Earth. We learned of it by spying on you two, and wished to indulge on the food there.
Both Goku and Vegeta became serious and turned to face their visitors.
I'm a Saiyan from Earth.
I'd rather not have a being as strong as you go there right now. Goku spiked his ki ever so slightly to face the god of destruction. He was challenging him. Champa was amused by this.
Okay, you've picked my interest, Saiyan. Let's settle this over a tournament. Your universe's strongest warriors against my own. Whoever wins gets Earth.
Without skipping a beat, Goku said,
Deal. Oh, and we don't need any other fighters. Just I will be enough.
Vegeta instantly interjected, asking if he was insane. Their planet was at stake here, and all Goku cared about was his petty ego. Goku brushed Vegeta's worries aside, telling him not to worry, and that he needs to teach this cocky god of destruction a lesson. Vegeta wanted to fight as well, however, and Goku promised that they would figure out another tournament just for that. But right now, it's a little personal. A date was chosen for the tournament, and the time leading up to it were filled with dread by everyone else, but excitement from Goku. Soon enough, the day arrived, and Goku, along with his friends from Earth who wanted to see the battle, made their way to the chosen area, with Whis providing transport. Vegeta and those who were nervous or curious to accompany Goku made a deal that if Goku lost, they would step in and participate to save Earth. However, it seemed like to people like Buu, Tien, and Vegeta, this was mostly about seeing just how strong Goku had gotten. As he stepped into the arena, Goku jumped back and forth from side to side in his Super Saiyan 4 state, a form which he started to use more and more, treating it nearly as a base state. He was excited to finally face new opponents. Botamo entered the ring, sure that he would be the one to take down the cocky Saiyan. Kaba was surprised. Saiyan? He was a Saiyan? He knew they had tails long ago, but if that's how they looked, then he was glad that his Saiyans evolved. Vegeta shook his head at that comment, telling the kid that he has a lot to learn about the Saiyan race. Vegeta did take an interest in Kaba. He seemed tenacious. Goku rushed in to punch Botamo in the face, but he really was just a brick wall. Goku thought this was interesting, but he wasn't too worried. If he couldn't damage him, then he could at least move him. He had a plan. Goku put one hand on Botamo, who wondered what the hell was happening. Goku smirked, placing two fingers on his forehead and teleporting over to the ring side, letting Botamo drop to the ground below in a loud splat, instantly giving him a ring out. Everyone was impressed, except for Vegeta and Buu. They knew Botamo was small fry. Next up was Frost. Goku was too hyper for this, and negged Frost on to turn into his final state. The alien complied, and warned Goku that his little boss rush ends here. Frost jumped into action as Goku dodged every single one of his moves. Goku realized that there was something reflecting the shine of his aura, and he decided to do something about it. As soon as Frost threw one last punch, Goku dodges the punch and instead kicks his leg up, smashing it against Frost's mouth. Whatever was on his arm wasn't going to reach him. He wouldn't allow it. Frost couldn't believe the speed. he had to come up with a plan to inject Goku somehow, Goku shook his head, wagging his finger back and forth, saying that he expected more from somebody who was the same race as Frieza. The battle continued for a bit, until Goku slid across the ground, knocking Frost down and kicking him off of the stage. It was over, and Goku turned to Champa, pointing at Champa and telling him to find warriors with a little bit more honor. Vegeta was next. Goku tried to make a few jokes, but the robot seemed largely quiet. Nothing really landed. Goku shrugged, and the fight commenced. Even when Champa pulled up the cover to restrict Goku as Vegeta turned up the heat, Goku kept a cool head, saying, "Damn, you're pretty cool for a loose bolt." But this seemed to actually upset Vegeta. It caused him to stop the heat for a second. Goku was surprised. He didn't think he was that offensive, but he could totally use this to his advantage. Goku explained that he had spent enough time with Vegeta during their space missions to know just how to really bring someone down. The Saiyan proceeded to insult Vegeta relentlessly. Everyone in the stance was perplexed, turning their heads to Vegeta, who shrugged. He didn't remember being that mean. Vegeta cried and ran off the stage. Kaba bowed before Goku as he stepped up to the stage. Goku bowed back. It was cool to see a different kind of Saiyan. He even reminded him of his little imaginary friend, but it was disappointing to see how weak he was. Just like Frost, Goku yelled at Kaba to transform, but Kaba said that he didn't have a tail, he couldn't transform like that. Goku shook his head. No, not Super Saiyan 4, at least regular Super Saiyan. Kaba was still confused. So they don't even have Super Saiyan over there. Interesting. Well, time for a lesson. He taunted Kaba, calling his mother mean names, similarly to how he did against Oob in the original story. This only made Kaba angry, and he went in for an attack. Goku dodged and shoved Kaba down to the ground. Never let anyone lock your power away. Never let anyone betray you. To make sure those things never happen, you have to get stronger. Push yourself. With that, Kaba's eyes flashed open as he turned into a Super Saiyan. Goku was happy, but that was all the teaching he had in mind. He dodged one final attack and kicked Kaba out of the ring. As he recovered, Kaba requested Goku to teach him more. Goku laughed and shook his head. Just doesn't have a teaching soul. He should talk to Vegeta instead. He seems to be headed that route. Vegeta sneezed as his name was mentioned, and Kaba ran to him. Goku smiled, knowing Vegeta would hate him for that, but it would be good for him. As Goku laughed, the final warrior walked into the stage. Everyone went quiet. Even the non-fighters could feel the incredible power he had. Goku is excited about the battle. He didn't like having to wait till the end for a real challenge, but he thought this would be worth it. Hit smirked. He had never seen a Saiyan like that before. Goku and Hit begin their battle, with Goku enjoying himself thanks to Hit's strange techniques. But Hit was perplexed. Usually he simply stopped time as someone threw a punch, but Goku was so fast that Hit stopped time only after he was already being punched. Hit begins to stop time earlier than usual. This time he has to try and predict movements, not the other way around. As Goku's punches stopped connecting, he realized that there was something else going on. At first he thought he was just being too slow, but then he realized that Hit was in a different position than he originally was. Goku let this happen for a while, until finally realizing what it was. Hit was stopping time just for a split second. Well, Goku couldn't do that. He could, however, predict when he was going to move. The thing was, Hit was predicting when Goku was moving. So here was the plan. Move your body one way, but actually try to attack with another. For example, Goku would throw a punch, but in reality, would kick at the same time. This worked for a bit, but Goku finally decided to step it up a notch. It was time to show off something new. Goku breathes in and lets out a greater power as his body is outlined in red. This was, quote-unquote, Super Full Power Saiyan 4, as this state is actually called, but I'm just gonna call it Full Power Super Saiyan 4. He explained that he tried to do that silly ritual that Vegeta did just for fun, to see if he could obtain Super Saiyan God. But with only 4 people, it resulted in this power-up. If you recall, during the Baby Arc, the Saiyans helped Goku by giving him their energy, similarly to the God ritual. This resulted in the strongest Super Saiyan 4. Goku smiled, saying that he was saving this for the next time he had to fight Beerus seriously. Goku's speed increases, but Hit is still able to do a little bit here and there. Goku finally uses the multi-form technique to make sure Hit uses time stop to avoid multiple blasts from different directions. When he does this, Hit realizes that all the other Gokus had disappeared. In their place, the real Goku was coming down from above. his arm pulled back and full of ki. Hit couldn't hold it any longer as Goku crashed down with a Great Dragon rising from him and crashing back down onto Hit. The arena was completely gone, with Hit touching the ground. Goku had won. Everyone cheered and Champa sped out some food. He was serious. That Saiyan really could defeat them all. Champa was a little afraid and he turned to Beerus. But to his own surprise, Beerus was also perplexed. Goku was advancing so much. What could this mean to their universe? Could he be dangerous? Could they really just let him run around loose? Whis noticed that Beerus was worried, and he leaned over to the God of Destruction, whispering, "Lord Beerus, have faith. That Goku guy has been through so much. He's been locked away before. That didn't work. If you feel it's necessary, we will do it. But I think we should just keep an eye on him for now." Beerus hated when Whis knew exactly what he was thinking. But he was right. They needed to just keep an eye on Goku. The team agreed to fight again some other time, with Hit telling Goku that he will defeat him next time. Goku responded by saying, "Doubtful. That time prison of yours is something I never want to be caught in. I promise myself I'll never be trapped again." Right before leaving to Earth, a light alerted everyone to the center of the arena. The Omni King had appeared, which made all the gods terrified. Goku, however, thought he seemed adorable. "Who are you? If Beerus is scared, then you must be really strong." Zeno laughed at Goku. He was funny. Zeno loved the tournament, but he wanted more fighters. And Goku had an idea. Goku turned around to Vegeta and said, "See, Vegeta, I told you you'd get to fight." Goku laughed and said that a tournament across the different universes would be a lot of fun. The Omni King gave a button to Goku and told him that they would plan it out. Hit simply took this as a challenge. Goku stuck his tongue out at Champa, and the Super Dragon Balls were used by Beerus to gift Universe 6 a new planet Earth. But something dark was brewing on Earth. As the Cosmic Cube traveled through space and stopped on Earth, Whis commented on the smell of smoke. As they stepped out, they watched as flames burned Capsule Corp. In fact, all of West City was in shambles. What happened? Chi-Chi held on to Goku, while Bulma held on to Bra and Trunks. Vegeta promised her that she would punish whoever did this. Goku said that he may have already figured that out, as they looked up to the sky and saw a Frieza mothership flying overhead, with Frieza himself staring down at them with a giant smirk. He had returned. The Z fighters go into formation as hundreds of soldiers stepped out. Frieza had given them the order to attack. Tien told Goku to focus on Frieza. They would take care of the rest. Tien, 18, Raditz, Krillin, and Yamcha split up as the soldiers followed them. Goku and Vegeta rose up to the sky to face Frieza. Beerus and Whis decided to stick around, watching the battles, along with Chi-Chi and Bulma.
Welcome, monkeys. I hope you found your little surprise just for my return.
What are you doing here, Frieza? How did you return?
A couple of loyal soldiers found these pesky Dragon Balls of yours. They've been spying on Earth for a long time. The moment they noticed that you and your little friends were off somewhere else, I decided to pay Earth a visit.
Damn you. You know I can easily defeat you in that state, right?
I'm well aware, Goku, which is why I'm not alone.
From behind Frieza walked out King Cold. He laughed, telling them that it was time for the Frieza Force to return to power. He then commented on Goku's peculiar state, saying that no matter what transformation they use, even if it is a red monkey, nothing will stand in their way. Frieza waved the transformation off. Whatever it was, it stood no chance against what they have in store. Skip to the end, Frieza. I can tell your power has increased. Show us what you've got.
Impatient, huh? Fitting of a Saiyan. Well, here it comes. This is what 10 months of training have done. Welcome, Golden Frieza.
Both Frieza and Cold were surrounded by bright light as they transformed into gold-plated versions of themselves. So, you've turned into an Oscar statue. Well, it's time to continue the tradition and slap some sense into you.
What the hell's an Oscar?
In a flash, Vegeta attempted to slam his fist against Frieza, but the Emperor caught the punch and spun Vegeta around, hammer fisting him down to the ground. He was fast and strong too. Could he really be a match for Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta? Goku cursed under his breath. Vegeta had already defeated Frieza once. He wanted to at least fight this version of him. No matter, his father would do for now. The two matches intertwined with each other. As Frieza helped his father, Goku helped Vegeta, though Vegeta always complained about it. King Cold clearly stood no chance against Goku, but Frieza was much stronger. He was actually keeping up with Vegeta. In the meantime, the Z Fighters continued to fight, spreading all over the world, and they weren't alone. Whichever ally that didn't go on the Universe 6 tournament was also aware of the situation, with 16 and 17 fighting on their own island against swarms of enemies. Nappa too was out there helping out, angry at being called a traitor by many of them. Raditz was happy to see how much his training had changed him, and none of the soldiers stood a chance against him, not even the likes of Shizame. He thought back to Zarbon and Dodoria, the Frieza soldiers who tormented him for so long. He had to admit, this was satisfying. As the battles continued, Goku switched places with Vegeta just for a minute, while Vegeta was followed by King Cold. Goku was having a little bit of fun, especially once he got to fight Frieza for a little bit. But Vegeta argued that he already got to fight everyone in the tournament. Let him have Frieza. Goku rolled his eyes. As blasts and ki balls were fired off, one of the stray blasts from Frieza went straight for Trunks, Bulma, and Bra. Vegeta completely ignored King Cold as he rushed over to them and tanked the blast. Frieza rose an eyebrow. So, that must be Vegeta's new family. How cute. He yelled at his father to take care of Goku while he began to fire multiple blasts at Vegeta's family. Vegeta deflected them all, but they started to weigh down on him. Goku knew he had to help. He opened his aura to push King Cold away and rushed in, firing blasts at Frieza. This hurt Frieza, but he would not stop the blast. Vegeta reminded Goku of how he used to be, how he defended Grandpa Gohan's last memory in the form of his home during the battles against Cell. Grandpa Gohan told him that his home didn't represent his memory, that his memory kept on living within Goku. Perhaps what Goku needed now was a family of his own. But he heard Vegeta yell out, telling him to stop.
Kakarot, this is my fight. I told you to step away.
That Frieza, he tormented me. He took my planet away, my throne, my father, my friends and allies, all of my Saiyan race. I know he took a lot away from you too, but you're strong enough to defeat him easily. This is my challenge. He's my wall to climb over. Goku stopped in his tracks. He admired Vegeta and simply watched. Frieza cackled.
So, you did some training. How amusing. Well, I'll show you a wall that no amount of training will help you get over. I'll kill you, and I'll kill your family too.
Vegeta looked back to see a scared Bulma, a crying Bra, but a brave Trunks, looking forward, knowing his father would save them. This made Vegeta snap, his eyes going blank as his aura erupted and the blue of his transformation darkened, his muscles sharpening. His aura expanded, nearly hugging Bulma and his family, while pushing everybody else away, even Kakarot. Unknowingly, Frieza had caused a new transformation, a transformation that would be known as Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Goku cheered on Vegeta. He knew it. He knew since the moment they met, since he was leagues ahead of him, that Vegeta would slowly start to catch up. Goku knew he was still stronger, but he wasn't far off anymore. Goku turned back to King Cold, telling him, well, we'll make this quick. I want to go back to watching the real fight. Goku rushed over to King Cold, grabbed onto his cape, slammed him against the ground, rose up to the sky, and fired a 10 times Kamehameha. King Cold was done for. He never stood a chance. Goku just wanted to watch the fight now.
What are you?
I accept that my family's gone. I accept that my throne will remain empty. You will keep that blood on your hands forever. But I will not let you destroy my new family, my new people. Earth is my home, and I will not let you take it from me. Vegeta clashed against Frieza without a moment's notice, rushing through the Ki Blast and right through a couple buildings. As the rubble spread around them, Vegeta roared and buried Frieza onto the ground. Frieza was done for within minutes. As Vegeta kept on beating on him over and over again, Vegeta rose up to the sky, put his arms out, and fired a giant final flash against Frieza. This knocked the Emperor right out of his golden state. He was bleeding, tired, weak, on his knees. Goku smiled from ear to ear. Vegeta walked up to Frieza, raising his arm up ready to kill him. It seemed as if Frieza was going to destroy Earth, just like in the original story. But Goku stepped in front of Vegeta, putting a hand on his shoulder. Vegeta tells Kakarot to let him go, but Goku doesn't move. He simply says that he's proud of Vegeta, that he has finally surpassed that wall. But to look at Frieza, he's defeated. Sure, they can kill him now, but just think of how strong he got in such a little amount of time. Don't you want to battle him again? Frieza stood back up, letting go of the planet's destruction blast. Last time Goku spared him and he betrayed them, he paid with his life. He wasn't going to make that same mistake again. Goku said one last thing to Vegeta. You protected your family. You can move forward from what Frieza did. We both can, my friend. Vegeta smiled at Kakarot. He knew that if Frieza ever returned, they could take him on again. Frieza was already leaving the planet, as he promised to see the monkeys again. Chi-Chi ran to Goku, hugging him, while Vegeta's family did the same to him. And for the first time ever, Goku actually hugged Chi-Chi back. Perhaps it was time for him to settle down as well. He would never want peace like Vegeta did. But what he had, Bulma, Bra, Trunks, he wanted something like that. And he liked Chi-Chi. She was always nice to him. The Z-Fighters finished off the rest of the Frieza force on Earth. And peace, once again, returned. Beerus thought to himself, Goku, he spared Frieza. He didn't quite trust him just yet, but he finally saw what Whis did. Perhaps they could keep an eye on him for a little bit longer. The team would return to their usual training, but darkness, unlike anything anyone had ever seen before, dwelled beyond their universe. A young Kaioshin in training named Samazu watched as Goku defeated every single one of the universe's 6 fighters, one by one. He couldn't believe it. That mortal had so much power. How could he be allowed to live? How could he be allowed to be free? He had to be contained. He had to be trapped.